What this place is? Another dimension?
Oh, no. This is a pocket universe.
Stop looking for ghosts. Stop looking for Norse gods. Stop looking for deities from other dimensions that are doing all this to these people. The answers to From aren't in the spell book. They are in the production notes of Fringe. Showrunner Jeff Pinkner is famous for reshaping high-concept sci-fi, and if you're looking at the episode, Welcome to Westview, the blueprint for the town is sitting right there. Today, I am not talking about theories, I'm talking about direct parallels. This happened on Fringe, and look what happened on From. On Fringe, in Welcome to Westfield, the Fringe team tries to drive out of town, but no matter which direction they go, they pass the same landmarks and end up right back at the town. Walter Bishop explains the town is pinched off from reality. On From, every newcomer drives up to a fallen tree that blocks the road and ends up at the diner. No matter how far they drive, they return to the start. This is a pocket dimension. It's a localized bubble where the entry point is a one-way valve. Both shows use the loop as the first symptom of a dimensional merge. On Fringe, the town of Westfield experiences massive electromagnetic surges. Lights, bulbs flicker, explode, stay lit, even when they aren't plugged in. The merging of the two worlds creates a wireless energy field. On From, Jim and Tabitha discover the wires in the walls are hollow. No copper, yet the lights work. When Jim tries to broadcast on the radio, every bulb in the town explodes. The connection. This is quantum renaissance. On both shows, the electricity isn't coming from a power plant. It's a side effect of the two universes vibrating against each other. When Jim introduced a new frequency, the radio, he caused a surge that popped the light bulbs, exactly like the surges in Westfield. On Fringe, Walter Bishop uses sensory deprivation and brain syncing to allow Olivia Dunham to see into the alternate universe. While her mind is over there, her body in our world often experiences seizures from physical trauma. On From, Julie is lost in the ruins mentally, but her physical body is having violent seizures in the town. The connection. This is remote neural mapping. Both shows establish that see or enter deep layers of the pocket dimension, your brain has to be unlinked from your body. Julie, Randall, and Marielle are being used as human servers. Their consciousnesses uploaded to the power of the town's nightmare rendering. On Fringe, the observers are scientists from another timeline who watch the experiment. They rarely intervene, but when they do, they use advanced tech like wireless headsets to monitor subjects. They can delete people who threaten their timeline. On From, a voice on the radio knows exactly what Jim is doing. The man in yellow appears in visions and monsters in the town. When Jim and Tabitha try to hack the exit, the man in yellow intervenes. The connection. The man in yellow is an administrator, just like the observers. He killed Jim because Jim became a corrupted variable. The voice on the radio isn't a spirit, it's the monitor from the original universe. Now let's talk about the so-called exit. When the boy in white pushes Tabitha from the top of the lighthouse, he says, "This is the only way." In any other show, that's considered murder. In the Westfield Protocol, it's a dimensional ejection. This is a direct parallel to how Olivia Dunham traveled between universes in Fringe. Walter Bishop explained that because two realities vibrate at different speeds. Crossing over requires a massive physical jolt, usually a high impact trauma or extreme velocity, to shake your molecules loose from one world and sink them into the next. Tabitha wasn't just being pushed, she was being accelerated. The fall from the lighthouse, which acts as the town's multiversal antenna, provided the specific velocity needed to break through the surface tension of the pocket dimension. Just like Olivia Dunham often woke up in the hospital after a high speed transition between worlds, Tabitha wakes up in the hospital in the so called real world. But look at that moment and what happens next. The moment she tries to reach the first bottle tree, the literal root directory of the town's code, the system detects a breach and a car hits her. In Fringe, if you don't have a tether or consent, the universe tries to pull you back to where you belong. The car crash wasn't an accident, it was a system restore. It was a system restore. The person in this picture with the red goggles, who is the system's administrator, saw a variable, who is Tabitha, trying to access the source code, the first tree. He triggered the crash to repackage her into an ambulance and deliver her right back into town. In the Westfield Protocol, you don't escape, you just get reinstalled. Now we have to talk about the heart of the town's memory, Victor. For years, we've watched Victor draw pictures to remember, but he's drawing things he couldn't possibly have ever seen. This is a direct parallel to the coffee fan subjects in Fringe. Walter Bishop experimented on children to tune their brains to a frequency of an alternate universe. These children, like Olivia Dunham, would see glimmers of the other side or perceived events before they happened because their brains were functioning as quantum beacons. Victor is the town's hard drive because he was sensitized as a child, like during that original deal that Christopher was part of. His brain was perpetually downloading the town's data. He isn't drawing, he is mapping the pocket dimension. In Fringe, certain objects and people acted as constants. They existed in the same state across both universes. Victor is the constants of this town. His drawings are the system logs. This explains why his mother Miranda was painting the town and the bottle trees before she ever arrived. Just like the gifted children in Fringe who could draw the machine before it was ever built, Miranda and Victor were already syncing with the town's frequency. They didn't stumble into a nightmare, they were tuned into it. In Fringe, the side effects that happened to these children that were able to do this were massive memory loss and emotional detachment. When we look at Victor, we see he has the exact same symptoms as those kids. Finally, let's look at Jade. We are told he is Christopher reincarnated. On Fringe, certain characters are contestants. No matter how many times the timeline resets, the machine needs specific people to function. On From, Christopher was the 1970s software update who used a puppet to calibrate the children. He failed, so the town rebooted. It brought in Jade, a modern software genius, to reinstall the logic needed to keep the pocket dimension stable. The car crash that brought Tabitha back, that's a system restore. In both shows, once you are part of the data, the universe won't let you leave. You are just a file, just like in the Westfield Protocol. Now we have to look at and address the most terrifying part of this town, the residents who don't look quite human anymore. To understand what the monsters really are, we must look at the molecular stabilization rules on Fringe. On Fringe, in the episode Welcome to Westfield, the team finds the townspeople are physically merging because two universes are occupying the same space. The DNA of the residents starts to smear. People end up with two rows of front teeth, multiple sets of organs, or their bodies literally fuse with the furniture. Walter Bishop explains that without a stabilizer, the molecules of two different versions of the same person will try to occupy the same coordinates, resulting in a biological monster. On from, look at the monsters that come out at night. They look like 1950s caricaturists: the milkman, the librarian, the prom queen. But when they are dissected, we see they have hollow, dried up organs and biology that makes no sense. They are trapped in those mid century roles. The monsters aren't demons, they are the original residents of the 1950s merge. Just like in Fringe, when the Westfield Protocol first started, the residents' DNA was corrupted by the dimensional shift. They didn't die, they glitched. They are merged versions of their original town folks. Their hollow insides matches the hollow wires of the town. They are low resolution renders of human beings. They act out memories of the 1950s because they are stuck in a neutral loop. In Fringe, the merged people became aggressive and hive-minded. In From, the monsters are the security software of the experiment program to delete, meaning kill, any people that might destabilize this simulation. Take a close look at the drawing by Victor. It depicts a dark shadow figure with glowing red circular eyes, almost like lenses or goggles. In the world of From, this is a nightmare, but in the world of Fringe science, this is biohazard. On Fringe, in the episode Welcome to Westfield, and throughout the series, the observers were scientists like William Bell, often used advanced technology to monitor soft spots. In reality, when entering a pocket dimension where the light is distorted and the air is smeared, they wore specialized goggles. These lenses were designed to see quantum frequencies, to track the glow of the resident's DNA. To a regular person trapped inside, a scientist in a dark suit and glowing goggles will look exactly like a shadow with red eyes. On From, Victor has been drawing this figure for decades. It represents the big bag, the one pulling the strings. The goggles, those red circles aren't just eyes, they are lenses. Just like the man in yellow is figuratively likely an administrator from the origin universe, the shadow, the dark scribbled texture of the body suggests someone wearing a containment suit designed to keep their molecules stable while they walk through the glitched town. This is the lead investigator of the Westfield Protocol. While the residents see a monster, we're looking at a scientist in a protective suit. In Fringe, the observers look like pale men in suits, but through the eyes of a terrified child like Victor, an administrator in full gear becomes a dark, red-eyed entity. The figure is likely the one who controls the radio voices and the man in yellow. The man in yellow is the field agent. This red-eyed figure is the one watching and monitoring the lighthouse server room. On Fringe, the weather is often manipulated or corrupted by dimensional instability. In The Other Side, the atmosphere is fundamentally different, and specific fringe events can cause localized, unnatural storms or sudden shifts in temperature that serve as a warning that the physics of the area are failing. Scientists even use technology to amber entire city blocks, freezing everything in time and space to prevent a tear from reality spreading. On From, the town operates on an eternal summer setting that has remained unchanged for over 40 years. However, the moment Jim and the residents attempted to reach the outside world via the radio tower, the environment responds. A massive storm suddenly destroys the tower, and shortly after, the leaves begin to change color, the first signs of winter that the residents have ever seen. The weather in From is a climate controlled firewall. In the pocket dimension, the environment is a setting managed by the administrator. The storm. This wasn't a natural disaster, it was a security protocol. When Jim's frequency pierced the bubble, the system triggered a storm to physically dismantle the breach. The winter. This is a system wide reset. By changing the seasons to winter, the man in yellow is destroying the food supply and forcing the test subjects back into a state of survival and submission. In both shows, the weather is used as a tool for containment. If the subjects try to leave, the environment itself becomes the prison guard. I truly hope you listen to what I'm telling you in this video. I know a lot of you want it to be magical. I know that's what you want it to be. But in the end, this is what it's going to be. Again, the show is billed as sci-fi horror. And that's exactly what you're getting. Sci-fi horror. But you tell me what you think in the comment section. And if you like the way I do this, please thumbs up this, spread this across the realm, and of course subscribe. And until next time, you know who it is. Peace and stay sexy.